knowing. And channeling can be that way. But if our egos are in the way, or if we're having a bad day, it's really important in your own Gnostic experience, I feel, to find the threads that bring an older foundation to it. And I think, go ahead.
I love that so much, that you're coming from a place of actual experience, actual personal travel and pilgrimage, and then bringing such beauty that is so felt with your words and your writing. You have quite a lot of writing on your website.
I've taken half of it off, actually.
It's, I mean, a meditation in and of itself to sit and read and feel, and the pictures that you have on your website as well. It's really lovely. There's just a certain essence that I feel very connected to, and I wonder.
Yeah. Well, the photographs are my own. Most of the photographs are my own. And so sometimes I get too filled with words, and you can say, and you can, because if you go to these sacred sites, and I really miss living in Europe and having those sacred sites as an access. I truly miss it a lot. I did get a lot of it, though, down through New Mexico, through Arizona, in the shrines. I get it in Miami. I don't get a lot of that in Oregon. But because the Protestants, it's more of a Protestant root here in Oregon. So you really have to dig to find, that old essence of Madonna's, But so what I've done with my photographs is, from that missing of that archetype, I've taken the old Madonnas out of France, or even some of them are, out of the Spanish tradition, and then I put them with, in the water or in the flower, and so I'm playing with the archetypes. So you get that feeling of going through the archetype in different layers, and that's what you get when you go to Europe to a shrine. You go, you're in front of the shrine, and when you go into that prayerful, devotional state, that shrine will become that window, that doorway to go through the mystical experience. There's 800-900 years of maybe Catholicism, and even more underneath the church through, temples of Rome and sacred stones of the Gauls, that all are in alignment. And so the archetype really speaks from a very ancient voice of the mother. And so my art is playing with that, so that, for myself, I miss it. I think I do everything at this point for myself, for my own learning, even my writing. If somebody gets it, fine, and if they don't, I'm getting it. And I think, and where when I was younger, I think that I wrote more like, oh please, I want to be seen, I want to be teacher, I want to have and a lot of that has fallen off me over the last 10 years, and it's more like, I realize this is my process, and some people will understand me and some won't, but it's still my process of my own awakening.
I love that. Well, what an honor it's been. 4.5 years in France. I would love. I have yet to go to Europe, and I know I want to do that. So.
Yeah, and the shrines are there in New Mexico. Santa Fe is rich. Yeah. And like Santa Fe is so rich. It's like when I went into Santa Fe, and I'm so surprised what's actually here in this country. But when I went into Santa Fe, they've made a museum more of it right now, but there's a small chapel of, let's see, it's a chapel that the nuns were there. It's a chapel of Loreto, Our Lady of Loreto, which is a black Madonna in Spain. And that chapel was built by the architects that that refurbished Saint-Chapelle in Paris. And the nuns took their dowry, which must have been a lot of money, and they hired them from France and brought them there to build the chapel.
Oh, wow.
And there's a miraculous staircase there that they felt the son of the architect died before the staircase went to the balcony of where they sang choir. And of course, all there was a ladder, and of course, being a nun, you don't want to walk up a ladder so somebody could see up your dress, heaven forbid, right? So they prayed to St. Joseph, who was a carpenter, and did a novena to St. Joseph. And along comes this man on a donkey and all he used was a square, a saw, a hammer, and a bucket of water. And he built this staircase that has no railings. And it's taken many, many, many years. I mean, I think they didn't figure it out until this, the last couple of decades, how he did that. And then he took no payment and he left. So they felt he was an incarnation of St. Joseph, or an emanation of St. Joseph.
Oh, wow. So
that's the story of that. And the Basilica in Santa Fe also was built by these French architects. And if you look, it has a labyrinth that is a copy of the labyrinth in Chartres. So it's here too in this country, and especially I find it in the South. And you just have to look, you have to look, but it's there. You can find it. You can find it through Our Lady Guadalupe, who is the emanation of the earth goddess of the Aztec, but goes back to the black goddess in Spain, Our Lady Guadalupe, who actually was placed in the city as a dark goddess to join the Jews, the Moors, and the Christians and bring a peace, because they all could gather around this black Lady Guadalupe and relate to her. So this is just happens from researching history that I'm speaking from, and sewing. It's like taking a golden thread and sewing through these archetypes, and I do it through history.
Amazing. Well, I'm so grateful that you've been able to share all of this, and we could talk for many more hours.
Yeah, we've already probably blew an hour, huh?
But I would love for you to share the title and the place that people can work with you, and where they can purchase your book. And
yeah. So there's 2 books that I'd like to share, and one is The Sacred Sites of Mystic's Journey to the Sacred Sites of France on Amazon.com. And my new book that's just been out for less than a month, I think, right now, is The Hidden Magdalene in the Trou de Marseille, and that's also on Amazon.com.
Thank you so much for listening to Rose Oracle Podcast with Angela Jean Rosehart. You've been listening to Raylene Abbot, and I'm so grateful that she was able to share today, especially on September 11th at 11 o'clock, and we finished just after 12. Very exciting to hear all that she has to offer. Please do visit her website at RayleneAbbott.com and find her books on Amazon. Also, please feel free to donate, $5 minimum. We will have our Patreon up and running very soon, and we look forward to the support from all our patrons. Have a beautiful day.